Traphis, A Wizard's Tale by James D. Maxson. Read by Jim Baker. The cavern walls became visible before fading back into the darkness. A surge of power flooded through Travis's 15-year-old limbs and then vanished. He wrenched forward, dropped to his knees and gasped for air. Breaths echoed throughout the cavern as sweat trickled down his cheeks. When he regained his composure, he leaned against his father's staff and wiped the dampness from his brow. At this rate, I'll never become a wizard. Traphis tensed at the thought. He always made it look so easy. Why his father had prevented him from learning magic, Traphis never understood. It only seemed natural for a wizard to pass down his secrets to his son, but that no longer mattered. It was too late for answers. He bit his lip. This was not the time for sorrow. He would take his father's place and become the greatest wizard of all time. A soft breeze ran through his dark brown hair. He tightened his grip on the wooden staff and stubbornly pulled himself upright. Despite the pain and fatigue, he would try again. He had come too far to give up now. Traphis breathed deeply of the cool cavern air. He sat down, shifted on his makeshift wooden chair, and then closed his eyes once again. Deep in his mind he pictured a three-dimensional realm, a fathomless empty void. A moment later his father's face surfaced, which exhibited a variety of expressions, some happy, some sad. For just a moment Traphis fixed his gaze on his father, cherishing every smile, smirk, sneer and grin, and then his father was replaced by a field of flowers which withered and died. New images formed and came to him in a flood of confusion like wasps attacking their prey. He tried to push them aside, but as soon as he averted one, two more took its place. No more! Without opening his eyes, a sensation of foolishness fell over him, but he knew no one would be within earshot. His cave was too far away, or at least he hoped so. Regardless of what the images showed, they were blocking his path, and he knew he would have to push past them in order to move forward. A furrow appeared on his brow as he ventured back into his mind. Like before, the images came at him, but this time he pushed them away. His awareness strengthened and the images faded into the background, like mere shadows. In less than the count of 3 breaths, his vision had cleared and the images were nowhere to be seen. Only empty white space remained, no objects, no images, no hints of anything at all. What now, he thought. Then, as if in answer to his question, a dark cloud materialized. The massive bulk towered over him like a twisted, gnarled tree. He stared up at it. Goosebumps ran across his arms and he gripped his father's staff more tightly. It wasn't the lurid appearance of the smoky, overshadowing surface that bothered him. It was the feeling of a presence, one that felt threatening, sinister and cruel. It seemed as if the cloud was a living entity, and if that were true, what did it want from him? The dark object stared down with faceless eyes, mocking him, challenging him to move forward. And then, just as he thought it was going to attack, another presence made itself known over the menacing aura of the cloud. It was faint but enduring, as if it were the polar opposite of its rival, warm and kind. Traphis wondered whether the cloud was guarding something, whether it was keeping the other presence a prisoner or merely blocking the path. Whatever it was, he had to find out. There was no good to be had by remaining where he was. His thoughts traced along the edges of the mass, outlining its shape one section at a time. He imagined the cloud moving, but it didn't budge. With renewed effort he tried again, focusing on the object in his mind, but still nothing changed. And then another idea occurred to him. You don't have to move it, just move through it. Traphis pushed his thoughts forward. He sensed himself moving closer. A flash of light emitted as he submerged into the cloud's fathomless depths. Lightning? He couldn't tell. The darkness was like smoke all around him. Then another flash and he saw something blue. A clearing? Energy surged through his body and then he heard a snap. His attention lurched back into the physical world. The walls of the cave appeared before him and warmth rested against his hand. He could see. He could feel warmth. With a glance at a small fire pit, to his amazement he noticed that the pile of twigs was burning. The small flames danced before his eyes like welcoming friends. I did it! Traphis jumped to his feet so fast that he hit his head on the ceiling. He winced at the bump and brushed loose dirt from his hair. Was it possible? Had he actually started a fire using magic? He looked again, worried that the flames had been an illusion, but to his relief they continued to burn. Even though a true wizard might not have regarded this accomplishment as any great feat, excitement washed over him. It was a magnificent breakthrough. He couldn't imagine anyone forgetting his first use of magic, and he knew he never would. Traphis sat back down and gazed at the fire's hypnotic beauty. The hungry flames crackled and snapped before him, casting shadows along the stony walls. Reaching down, he picked up a dry twig and tossed it atop the burning pile. Orange sparks flew into the air. Traphis wished his father could see him now. Though he didn't know whether he would be angry or proud, it didn't matter. He would have given just about anything to hear his voice again. Bending down, Traphis picked up one of the many books scattered on the ground. He shook it and blew the remaining bits of sand from the cover. The cool, moist air of the cavern didn't help the drying process any, but at least the precious books were safely hidden from his mother. He held the text in his youthful hands. Some of the words were smeared, but legible enough to read. His mind absorbed the letters, driving them further into the recesses of his memory. Time passed. Motionless, he sat on his wooden chair, until at last he put the book down. He stood and stretched his stiff legs. The fire had faded to glowing embers, and his eyes ached from the dullness of light. Next time he would bring more wood, even if it was a nuisance to carry it up the side of the cliff. Traphis pushed a pile of sand over the top of the glowing embers, which smothered the coals. It was better not to risk catching something on fire, particularly the books he rescued from the creek just a few days ago. The cave became pitch black once again, but he didn't have far to go. He sprinted through the cavern, hopping over protruding rocks and gliding his hand along the wall. With as many times as he had been there, he could have easily found his way in his sleep. He reached the entrance and gazed down into the forest below. The setting sun made the trees look dark and eerie. It was later than he thought. His mother was sure to be angry. The grooves in the rocks guided him safely to the ground. When he stood against the dirt, he peered up at the cave and tried not to feel as if he was abandoning a friend. The small hole in the cliff's surface was deceiving. No one would guess at a sizable cavern inside, and he hoped it would remain his secret for years to come. A woeblock hooted its deep and chanting melody, sending a chill down Travis's spine. "It's only a harmless bird," he thought to himself. "It won't hurt you." Just then he noticed a fresh pile of dung only a few steps away. His heart skipped a beat when he realized what type of beast had left it. A learcat. The wing-like ears, long tail and narrow face had left a distinct impression in his memory the last time he saw one, but that was at a distance. Having one nearby was a far greater danger. Branches lightly brushed against his brown weathered sleeves. With each step his feet softly compressed the dirt and sticks beneath him. Traphis knew these woods, their twisting paths and strong trunks had been his playmates for as long as he could remember. Travelling through the forest at great speed was usually easy, but he wasn't about to take any chances at giving away his position. The terrible feeling that a learcat was watching him, following him, persisted in his mind. Cool air nipped at his lungs while he continued his steady pace. The woeblock resumed its haunting call over the chirping of various bugs. Small creatures darted under logs and bushes as soon as he approached. The occasional glowing of eyes from unknown beasts intensified his alertness until at last a sound of trickling water came within earshot. It wasn't much farther now. Travis made his way across a tree that had fallen over the creek. The thick trunk and bark made it easy to balance on. A fish jumped and splashed, producing a ripple in the water, which not long ago was filled with his father's books. Travis was thankful that he had seen his mother hurling them into the creek, otherwise he would not have been able to rescue them in time. Safely hidden behind a bush, he had waited. Once she left, he had leapt into the water and pulled them out, and brought them to dry in his cave. Once again, Travis wondered why his parents wished to keep him from learning magic. After crossing the log, he passed by several more trees. A welcoming light beckoned from the window of a small 2-story cottage. He sighed with relief. A whinny filled the night air as he approached the barn. He opened the doors and walked towards Naya's stall. She bobbed her head both in welcome and seemingly in hopes of receiving a pat on the nose. To her obvious pleasure, he did just that. She sighed in ecstasy, blowing through her nostrils as he gently rubbed her brow. "It's okay, girl," he said. "I'm home now." "And about time too," a voice said from the doorway. Travis's mother looked at him with steady brown eyes, the same colour as his own, but a frown of displeasure pulled down the corners of her mouth. "Sorry, I didn't mean to stay out long. You need to be more responsible, Travis. You know what type of creatures and beasts come out at night. What if something happened to you out there? I don't know what I'd do if I lost you too." Her firm mouth trembled a moment, but she turned to look at something in a nearby stall, and when she looked back, her face was steady again. "Well, at least you're home now. I'll heat up your dinner for you. You'll need your energy to finish harvesting tomorrow. How you can go so long without eating is a mystery to me." "Thanks," Travis said, knowing better than to argue with her. She turned and left him to finish saying goodnight to Naya. He patted his horse lightly on the nose one last time before making his way to the house. After locking the doors behind him, a smile crept across his face. "I used magic today." I hope you enjoyed this reading of Traphis, A Wizard's Tale. To learn more about the story or purchase a copy of the book, please visit awizardstale.com.